Hey folks, thanks for checking out my channel. It's Richard DuBois, horror author, and this is my favorite time of year when all the ghosts and goblins come out. So you're probably looking for horror movies. If you're anything like me, you watch them all the time, and you're tired of getting burned. So let me do the heavy lifting for you. I've got 3 recommendations from 3 different streaming services, and you can't go wrong. So if you're tired of tuning in, starting to watch a horror movie, and halfway through you're looking at your phone and you're not even paying attention anymore, allow me to be your guide. First film is on Shudder. Yes, Shudder. Now, if you're not familiar with Shudder, it's a streaming service that just has horror. They are not paying me, but I recently started watching some movies on Shudder, and of them all, I'd have to say the very best one is Haunt. I don't like to know a lot about a movie before I dive in, so I won't tell you too much, but I'll give you just a little bit. It's a group of college kids, and it's Halloween night. They get a flyer, and they go to check out some type of a haunted attraction in the countryside. And the villains are creepy. The premise is plausible. The character interactions were smart. Their dialogue was believable. Not overly gory. I don't remember if there being any nudity. I don't think there was. So if you want to watch it with your kids, I think you can. If they do end up showing some nudity, don't blame me because my memory isn't the best. So in any event, I think it was great. It was always kind of like explores how vulnerable women are. How almost every day their lives are or can be endangered. It was interesting to explore it from that perspective, but it wasn't preachy about it. It was just thought-provoking. So once again, I cannot say enough good things about Haunt on Shudder. Go check it out. And now for the folks that have Hulu. If you have Hulu and you're looking for a horror movie, I have one that I just watched last night that I was kind of impressed by, and it's called Spell. Now, I read a little bit of the biography, I guess, the explanation of what the movie was about. And it mentioned something about a man and his family, and the plane crashes in the mountains of Appalachia somewhere, and he becomes under the spell of some woman in a mountain cabin. That's all I knew about it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, it's going to be something kind of like sexy. It's going to be like a hot mountain backwoods woman who's conjuring this man and trying to hold him against his will. Well, I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm always pleased when I kind of think how something is going to go, and then when I actually watch it and it goes in a very different, unexpected direction. I guess it's the author in me. I like that whoever created something stays one step ahead of me, and in this instance they did. The villain is one of the best villains I've seen in quite a long time. She gets some great dialogue, really juicy lines, and she delivers them with such gusto. Honestly, she makes the whole movie. Without her, I don't think it wouldn't even be half as what it was. So please, by all means, if you have Hulu, check out Spell. It's very suspenseful with an excellent villain. And then my final recommendation is for you folks that have Netflix. I watched this last weekend, and it's called No One Gets Out Alive. You have a woman who came here illegally from Mexico, and she is staying at a boarding house where you just rent a room, which is something I kind of could relate to because when I was her age and I was 19 years old, I was living out on my own, and I rented a room in a big, giant, old Victorian as well. Now, my Victorian wasn't haunted, but I kind of could relate to what it's like to be that poor and that young and just be living in some creaky old place and renting some room. So what ends up happening is she moves into this house and lots of spooky things happen. Once again, I don't like to tell you too much, so I kind of want you to find out for yourself. You're probably going to go and watch the trailer and see all the juicy parts of the movie, but if you're like me, skip the trailer, just listen to this recommendation, and then watch the movie. And I have to say, I guessed very early on that the creators of this film had something to do with a movie that came out a few years ago called The Ritual. There was a little teaser that they dropped early in the film when there was a radio playing in the background and there was a news announcement, and that kind of stuck in my head. And then when I saw the creature towards the end of the film, I knew there was a relation to the movie The Ritual because it has the same design aesthetic. And by the way, special mention, if you haven't seen The Ritual, which I think it's on Netflix, by all means, you should watch it. It is fantastic. Four men go hiking in the woods in Sweden, and it's basically, it does for men and our subconscious fears what the Stepford Wives did for women. So it's awesome. Love that movie, great. And I can only say pretty much good things about No One Gets Out Alive on Netflix. So those are my three. I kind of slid a fourth one in there. Recommendations. You cannot go wrong. So if you're, the weekend comes up, which it's about to come up, and if you're wondering what to watch and you don't want to start watching any duds and have it waste your whole evening, watch these movies. You will not go wrong. I promise you. And then you could write back to me and say, Richard, you were right. And I will say, of course, I told you. After that, pretty much the only other thing is Fang and Claw, the novel that my agent and I, Sarah Rivers, were working on. Just in case anybody was wondering, because I have gotten some questions, the revision process is moving along swimmingly. I expect it to be done by next week. Her recommendations are really tying the novel together, just making it tighter and even more suspenseful and drawing more things out of these characters. So I'm really excited with how I see it coming together, and I think that you will be too. So that's probably going to be my only video for the week because I got a lot of stuff going on. So I wish you guys a wonderful weekend. Go get your spooky Fright Fest on. Watch those movies like I said. Please give any feedback. I love to read them. And that's pretty much it. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Liking everything and subscribing. Big, big boost. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.